Welcome to Comics Bazaar, the channel of comics commentary and arcana. This video features Ghost Rider issue number 13, cover dated May 1991, and in effect this begins year 2 on the title. This is volume 2 of Ghost Rider. Danny Ketch is the host for the Spirit of Vengeance, and the mystery continues in respect of the precise identity of that spirit, that when Danny's flesh melts off his skull and skeleton, he becomes this Ghost Rider. So the cover is by Mark Texeira and Jimmy Palmiotti. So that's pencils by Texeira, inks by Palmiotti, and a lot of painting by Mark Texeira, including the use of airbrushing as well for the motorcycle there in the foreground. And this is a new character here. There's no cover caption to tell us what's going on, but we'll find out inside who this new villain is. And from the cover, it's a big surprise to see how the villain appears in the inside of the comic. But this is a really nice cover, interesting to see it by Texeira and Palmiotti, but particularly Texeira painted cover, and obviously Marvel springing for something a bit different in respect of the covers from the era. So let's open this one up and get into the 22 pages of story and art. Another aspect of this year 2 on the title is that Mark Texeira has been bumped up from inker over Javier Saltares' pencils, and he's now sole artist, penciler and inker on the title, and will be so for the coming year. So the title of this particular chapter is You'll Never See What's Coming Next, and that is it's both a reference to the new villain who makes his first appearance in this issue, as well as the surprise and cliffhanger at the end of the story. So the action opens in Cypress Hill Cemetery, Brooklyn. It's sunset. A strange transformation is underway, a transformation of fire and of pain, a transformation that occurs within the span of a heartbeat. There are times that even that span of a heartbeat seems like an eternity. So that is a striking opening to the story. Really like the colors here by Greg Wright. Let's take a look at the creator credits down here in the corner. Howard Mackie as ever writer, Mark Texeira artist, pencils and inks by him, Janice Chang letterer, and Gregory Wright on the colors. So that's very distinctively Gregory Wright's color palette. We've got the warm colors, the yellows and oranges, contrasted with the cool colors of the blues and greys throughout. But this is something interesting before turning the page to a fantastic double page spread, is we're seeing a more macabre illustration of the transformation process. The actual, as I mentioned earlier when talking about the cover, the actual melting of the flesh from Danny's face and head, it really is horrific. So Texeira leaning into the horrifying aspect of the transformation. And here we go. What an amazing double page spread. And of course, have a think about it. Where have you sort of seen this image before? Well, it is a type of tribute, an homage to the cover of issue number 1 from a year ago. And I really think that that gives the sense of here we are starting year 2. And we've got a much lower angle than on the cover of issue number 1. And obviously Texeira is playing around with the perspective, an acute perspective, and radical foreshortening going on there. But it is a super cool image of Ghost Rider sitting astride his mystical motorcycle in Cypress Hills. Really, really cool stuff. And there also is the transformation continuing, the flesh melting off Dan's head and skull, and we see it almost like blood tears coming from the eye holes, and seared away until only the bone remains. The very essence of Dan Ketch is scorched and turned to ash. Only the inner man is left sitting astride the motorcycle, only the Ghost Rider. Super, super cool. Everything's cool here. Very excited for year 2 on the title. And then we get Texeira moving to full horizontal panel layouts, which makes it much more cinematic. There's a mugging miles away. An old couple here, some youths, and they're out of their minds on drugs. And the old man tries to protect his wife. Come on, kids, why don't you and your friends go back to playing with your Teenage Mutant? And then it looks like his leg is broken there with the baseball bat, and then he's caught right in the face as well, knocking his glasses off. That's really, really violent stuff. And then they just start pounding on him. Find his wallet, Mikey, says one of them. Where is it, jerk? Money, money, the money. That's what they repeat there. So interesting kind of joke here, whereby the characters are using code names from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Donatello, Leonardo. And then on the opposite page here, we actually have an advertisement for Turtle cereal. So I wonder, is that just all down to pure coincidence? It's funny though, isn't it? So here's the old man. Looks like he's lost a tooth there as well from the beating he's taken. It's really brutal stuff. Like, it's terrible. And his wife there is crying as well, and she exclaims, "Stop, you're killing him." Then we get a top-down shot of them. Love the spotting of blacks, the casting of silhouettes there against the old man and his wife as they're pushed up against the wall. And the woman says, no, get away. I'll give you whatever you want. Just leave me alone. And call off the kids. So who's she talking to? And they turn around. Who's that behind us? Guardian Angel, Hell's Angel. And this is really cinematic, the way that Ghost Rider looks over his shoulder and stares right at them. That's the Ghost Rider. But they're not intimidated because they're out of their minds on drugs. Let's kick his butt, says one of them. Yeah, maybe he's got some money. They've got one-track minds. Or we could kill him and trade the bike to Giorgio for some crack. Right, so they're on crack cocaine. That's not good. That's not good for their health. And Ghost Rider easily deals with them, of course, because he's a supernatural being. They have no fear, he thinks. Their minds are not their own. Corrupted by the drugs, by the streets, by the dealers. The one who supplied the drugs to these innocents will pay. The blood spilled is on his hands. So Ghost Rider's going to go after the cause of crime, not these petty criminals necessarily. Where are you going? Asked the woman. Where are you taking them? Look what they did to my husband. Ghost Rider's got them in his bound in his chain. He's going to drag them along the streets. Kill them, kill them, kill them, says the woman. So she really wants vengeance. And Ghost Rider says, your husband will be avenged. Is he dead? Or is it just that he's lost his tooth and has had his leg broken and is going to be in hospital for a few weeks? I hope he's not dead. Like, just terrible this. Anyway, then more of the horizontal panel layouts later that night. The transformation has reversed and Danny's back to himself. He's thinking to himself, I haven't had a decent night's sleep since Ghost Rider came into my life. Oh well. And then he sees his mother emerge from a car that pulls up to the house as he, after he parks the bike in the garage. They walk up the steps to the entranceway to the house, and his mother has a sad look on her face. He tries to have a joke with her. Who was that in the car? Don't tell me you have a boyfriend. And she doesn't banter with him. It's late, Daniel. I've got to go get to bed. Good night. And he thinks to himself as we get that close-up on his furrowed brow, what's happening to us? And that's a question that will repeat in the comic from another character related to Danny elsewhere. A man, a mission, an arsenal. Love the color palette here from Gregory Wright. The magenta, the purple. Looks really cool. Who is this smoking the cigarette with the shades? It's Johnny Blaze. He gets a phone call from his wife. Johnny's that you? Please talk to me, Johnny. We all love you. Please come home. But what's happening to him and his family? He's a man on a mission. He's got his weaponry all loaded up and ready to go. Love the detail, the wood grain on the handle of this handgun there, and also on the bedside drawer there as well. That's the work of Jimmy Palmiotti. I forgot to give him a credit there because he's credited with background inks on this issue, whereas Texeira is doing the inking on the figures. The next day, the kids from last night weren't overly cooperative, thanks Danny. They were so whacked out that they weren't even afraid of Ghost Rider. They were babbling incoherently. Interesting switch to all vertical panels here. Danny's going up in a lift, and at the top of the building he delivers a package. Sign here, please, he says to the secretary. And this is a bit weird. Is this a contrivance, or are there really people like this? She says, sure. Are you from the new messenger service? I've never seen you before, but then again, I'm pretty new around here. Myself, my name's Rene Fuanaro. I'm from Queens. This is pretty easy work. I just sit here all day and answer the phones. I don't even know what the company does. That's a lot of information to give to a stranger, but maybe she's just a friendly girl. So what's the name of the company? ICU, International Contractors Unlimited. That's pretty vague, isn't it? So Danny's all wrapped up in his thoughts. Now I've got to find this snowblind, whoever he is. I'm no detective. How am I supposed to find one drug dealer in a city full of them? So the secretary says to him, bye, see you around. Oh yeah, sure, bye. He wasn't even paying any attention to her, but we got all this information and we know that this is going to play into future issues. So later, Danny's girlfriend, Stacey Dolan, who's training to be a police officer, calls to his house and she's got a new hairdo, gives him a big kiss and hug. Now let's go celebrate by making it through my first week at the police academy in one piece. So is Danny going to go out with his girlfriend? No, I can't. Not tonight. What? Why not? She asks him. I can't explain right now. Sorry, he says. I'll call you. And she's tearful and she says to Danny's mother, he'll call me? What's happening to us? There's that question again. I never see him anymore, Mrs. Ketch. And she responds, I'm sorry, Stacey, but we've all been through so much. And that's the trauma of losing her daughter and Danny's older sister, Barbara. So here he is out on the motorbike. We've got those speed lines there. That's pretty cool. Again, look at the wood grain. This is all down to Jimmy Palmiotti. He's doing good work on those background inks. And Danny's thinking to himself, why am I pushing Stacey away from me? She's the best and most stable thing in my life. I've got to make this up to her soon. Yes, you do. Now, how do I find this snowblind, he thinks. How would Dirty Harry go about finding a common drug dealer? And that's kind of an interesting reference there, because there is a Dirty Harry vibe to Ghost Rider, you know. The punishment that the Ghost Rider deals out to wrongdoers is very much from the ethical code book of Dirty Harry. Then the scene switches to Brooklyn Heights. In an historic brownstone not far from the promenade resides the drug dealer known as... So he's on the phone, Snowblind here. So this guy here, new villain, first appearance. Look at the state of this costume he's wearing. It's terrible. Like, it is an awful design. And I have the sense that Mark Texeira is not good at costume design generally. So maybe Marvel should have gotten somebody else to design the costume for this guy. It's so generic. Really, there's no imagination gone into it whatsoever. This is more interesting on the cover because this is Snowblind on the cover, but we'll see exactly how that works. So he's on the phone, so we don't know who he's on the phone to, but we'll have a sense of maybe who it was a little later on in the issue. So there he's saying, yes, the same gentleman who's interfered in a number of my operations. That's the Ghost Rider. No, I haven't gone after him. I'm a businessman now, not an assassin, he says to whoever's on the end of the other line. That was a long time ago. I thought you had strong men for this type of work. It's not my problem that your man hasn't been able to. And then he's getting annoyed on the phone and his power starts working there, but we don't know what exactly it is. Also, he's super strong, so he crushes the receiver in his hand with frustration. I'll take care of it. Yes, he yells. 2 hours later. Now look at the grittiness of these panels. This is really characteristic of Texeira's work on the title, and it really matches the tone and atmosphere of the stories in this particular title too. So he's grabbed one of these street dealers, gets information on Snowblind's location, Brownstone and Brooklyn Heights, and there he is leaping over the the tops of cars. But a SWAT team man has spotted him on Atlantic Avenue. All units, looks like our tipper's righteous. Our target is moving into the secured area. He's armed and dangerous, so take him down quick. Let's turn the page. And so there's a trap there for Ghost Rider. Now this looks a bit wonky, the drawing of the motorcycle as Ghost Rider's turning around, finding himself targeted by all those SWAT team police, and they're firing their rifles down at him. And it looks like the dealer that he had on the front of the motorcycle is shot to death. death. So Ghost Rider starts swinging his chain. This will stop, he says. So that's deflecting the bullets as well. Captain, that thing ain't stopping. Keep firing, says the captain. Ghost Rider thinks to himself, police? I will not harm them. I will look into this. So he puts the chain back over his shoulder after I find Snowblind. So he's focused on the mission there. It's a pretty cool anchor image of him there pulling a wheelie on the bike. Pacey storytelling here. Good stuff. A few minutes later, in Snowblind's brownstone, he's got a secretary, Ms. Tofield, he says. I've received word that we can expect a visitor shortly. Please see to it that all incriminating evidence is removed from the premises. So she says, I'm having all computer records transferred and all hard copies are being destroyed. So he's happy with that. Now, please make sure that all the staff vacate the premises. Your personal bodyguards, she asks, unnecessary. So off she goes. That's interesting. He doesn't want his staff to be harmed by the upcoming encounter. And then here it happens. Ghost Rider smashes into the side of the building, right into his office. It's a very cool panel there. And Snowblind says, I'm afraid you have me at a disadvantage. My sources tell me that you are somewhat frightening to look at. But unfortunately, I've been blind since birth. So that's the twist with this guy. Under normal circumstances, I can't see a thing, but I guess you could say I've been blessed with a gift. So he's going to explain what his power is. Like that wouldn't happen in the real world, but he's going to explain it. It's a trope of superhero comics. I'm available to project a field of visible light, he says. Only I can see in this limited field, and my strength increases. So he can blind others. He's blind, but he can blind others with this power of his. And when he uses it, his strength increases. So will he be a match for the Ghost Rider? Really like this top-down angle here. And also the choice to leave the sides of the panel borderless, so to speak. Also, we've got full bleed artwork too on these pages, which is pretty cool as well. So Ghost Rider, always very one track in terms of his perspective and point of view on things. He says, you're responsible for the deaths of many innocent children. Snowblind smashes the desks there. I'm responsible for me and me alone, man, he says as he punches Ghost Rider. Really dynamic punch there. Also, Ghost Rider getting kind of knocked backwards from the cracking punch. No one took care of me, says Snowblind, when I was growing up. These kids are on their own. The strong ones will survive. So he's kind of Nietzschean in his personal ethos. To kill more children, comes back to Ghost Rider. You can see me. So he was able to target him and kick him in the gut. And that takes Snowblind by surprise. How do you like that, he asks. As far as the kids that buy my stuff are concerned, if they really want to kill each other off, I really don't care. And he throws the desk lamp in the back of Ghost Rider's head. Right, that's not going to stop Ghost Rider. And then he says with a smile on his face, this has been interesting. I'd love to learn more about why you're the only person that can see me in my white field. But I've got a business to run, so it's time for this little meeting to come to an end permanently. So probably the Ghost Rider can see because of his mystical powers. It's probably one of his powers to see via the mystical dimension where Snowblind is, so to speak. Not before you feel the pain that you've inflicted on others. So Snowblind knows a bit about Ghost Rider. You've mistaken me for someone who cares. You've mistaken me for a mortal, says Ghost Rider. Oh, is this your penance stare I've heard so much about, where you look into my eyes and I'm turned to jelly by what I see? Well, and then there's a fifth, and we're back in the room. I can't see a thing now, so the penance stare won't be effective. But that doesn't make sense, because if Ghost Rider can see him because of his mystical vision, let's put it that way, how come the penance stare also isn't comparably mystically empowered or enabled, and so that it would work on Snowblind even though he's physically blind? Anyway, it's not going to work because the story requires it that way. And then the cops arrive, and here they are lowering their pistols at Ghost Rider. One of them even pulls out a machine gun, it looks like, and starts shooting after Ghost Rider. That's not going to do any good. And Snowblind says, that thing has got to be brought down, Captain Hoffman. He's a danger to my operations and thus to the new house that you bought with the money I pay you to take care of things like this. So that's why Snowblind knew that Ghost Rider was coming. He was tipped off by the corrupt police captain. And the captain says, I know what we need. And he shoots his own fellow officer in the back of the head in order to scapegoat Ghost Rider as a cop killer. So that's really going to escalate things in Brooklyn for Ghost Rider in coming issues. Nice captain, very inventive, says Snowblind. Will be an extra bonus for you this week, and you can have what the late lieutenant would have received had he lived. So the captain, the corrupt captain, calls it in. And then shortly, interesting 3-panel page here, somebody speaking on the phone. Are you sure the information is correct? He says, once again, you've not failed me, Linda. I look forward to watching your broadcast. Goodbye. So that's an established character in the title, Linda Way. She's a news journalist, a television news journalist. And it looks like she's in the pay or back pocket of Death Watch. A villain, of course, introduced in issue number 1, but who we haven't seen for about half a year. Now the entire city will be after him. He's delighted. I can carry out my plan and look like a hero to the community. Then he calls his secretary. Notice here that Texeira has used a photograph of an avenue and the view of a skyscraper building in Manhattan here for this particular panel. So that's an interesting little move of his. It saves a little bit of time for him too. So he calls his secretary, get me Tyler Marr on the phone. That's the leader of the HEART group. I want her women out on the streets now. Ghost Rider's out there, and I want his head. Okay. So things are getting there are problems coming for the Ghost Rider. There's going to be a lot of people out there looking for him. The police, HEART, and who knows what else. Cypress Hill Cemetery, though. Story opened in Cypress Hill Cemetery, and it's going to bookend there. The transformation reverses itself. The hellfire diminishes. The pain fades. The memory fades. So Danny's back to himself. Pretty much old silhouette panel there. It's nicely done. How could the cops have anticipated all of Ghost Rider's moves? He thinks. Why were they protecting a known drug dealer? Maybe I should talk to Captain Dolan. Right. Oh, Captain Dolan, I've been transforming into the demonic biker that you and your department are seeking, but never mind about that. I was wondering if we could discuss police corruption. I don't think so. So he considers the possibility, and then he discounts it. And then he finds the what do you call it again? The muzzle. Yeah, the muzzle of a gun pointed right at his temple. Don't even breathe hard. So who could this be? We move on to the last page. Of course, it's Johnny Blaze. Yeah, he's there with a shotgun pointed at Danny. But this is like, he's right up there. He's right beside him. And then he's not. Then he's stepped all the way back here. That's a bit weird. So Danny's there with his eye popped. Back away from the bike, says Johnny Blaze. Don't even think about touching it. But of course, the transformation can take place without Danny in contact with the bike. We've seen that happen already. Hey, I don't have any cash on me, he says. Of course, he doesn't know who Johnny Blaze is. So Johnny says, shut up and turn around. You weren't as hard to find as I thought. Either I still have a link with this demon of yours, or you just aren't too bright. Because Johnny Blaze, when he was the Ghost Rider, was possessed by the demon Zarathos. But it's pretty much established that whatever spirit possesses Danny, or that he has an agreement with, because now they're kind of cooperating, is not Zarathos. So finally, the man introduces himself. By the way, my name is John Blaze, and I'm either going to kill the Ghost Rider, I'm going to have to kill you. So next issue, Showdown. So there we go. That's quite the way to begin year 2 on the title. Bring back the original host for the Ghost Rider, and put him into apparent conflict with the new Ghost Rider, and we'll see how it all turns out. 1 page of letters there, and that is it. I do hope that you enjoyed this review and commentary on Ghost Rider issue number 13. Let me know your thoughts on this one in the comments section. If you enjoyed my review and commentary, please like and share the video. It really does help the channel. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for more content like this.